You never had a reason to explain it. You just always felt like something was slightly wrong. Like you were always waiting for something bad to happen, like love had a catch, like peace was borrowed time. And the strange part, you grew up, you survived, but somehow the world still doesn't feel safe. That feeling has a name, and it started long before you were old enough to understand it. Let me tell you about a little girl named Maya. Maya was 7 years old, and she was very good at reading the room. She could tell by the way her mother put her keys down whether dinner was going to be quiet or loud. She could sense when her father's mood had shifted before he even walked through the door. She became an expert at making herself invisible when things felt tense, and at being extra sweet, extra helpful, extra good when she needed someone to be okay. She wasn't doing any of this consciously. She was just surviving. No one ever hit Maya. No one told her she wasn't loved. From the outside, her family looked perfectly normal, but inside that house, safety was unpredictable. Affection came and went without warning. Comfort wasn't guaranteed. And so Maya's little nervous system did what all nervous systems do when they can't trust their environment. It stayed on. It never turned off. And Maya grew up. She got older, moved out, built a life. But here's the part no one talks about. The nervous system doesn't get the memo that you've left. It keeps running the same program. The same scanning, the same bracing, the same quiet, exhausting vigilance. Because that's all it ever learned to do. Maybe you recognize something in Maya. Maybe you've never been able to sit still in your own life. Maybe you've always been waiting a little for something to fall apart. If so, stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might change how you see yourself completely. Here's something that sounds simple, but is actually one of the most profound things in psychology. Your brain was built to keep you alive, not to make you happy. And the most important job your brain had when you were a child was figuring out one single question. Is this environment safe? Everything else, your personality, your beliefs about yourself, your ability to trust, your capacity to feel joy, all of it got built around the answer to that question. When a child grows up in a home where safety is consistent, where a parent is warm and predictable, where when something goes wrong it gets repaired, that child's nervous system learns something crucial. The world is generally okay. I am generally okay. When hard things happen, they pass. But when a child grows up in an environment where safety is inconsistent, and this doesn't have to mean abuse, it can mean emotional unavailability, chronic tension, unpredictable moods, a parent battling their own pain, that child's nervous system learns something very different. Stay alert. Don't relax. If things feel okay, that might just mean the danger hasn't arrived yet. Psychologists call the result of this childhood experience insecure attachment. But forget the label. What it really means is this. You learn that love is something you have to earn, manage, or brace for, and that peace is not something you're allowed to simply live in. And now here's where it gets personal. Take a moment right now and ask yourself honestly, is it hard for you to receive love without waiting for it to disappear? Do you find yourself creating conflict in quiet moments, almost like the stillness makes you more anxious than the chaos? Do you apologize constantly, even when you've done nothing wrong? Are you an expert at sensing other people's moods, almost like you have a radar that's always running? If you nodded to any of those, I want you to understand something. That is not a character flaw, that is intelligence, that was adaptive. You developed those skills because you needed them. You were a child in an unpredictable world, and your mind found a way to help you navigate it. The tragedy is not that you developed these patterns. The tragedy is that you're still using them in a world that no longer requires them. You're using a survival map for a life that is no longer a battlefield. Let me give you a few real-life examples of what this actually looks like in adulthood. There's the person who is fiercely independent, not because they don't need people, but because needing people once felt dangerous. Depending on someone meant being disappointed, so they learned to need no one. They became self-sufficient to a fault. And now in relationships, genuine closeness terrifies them even though it's all they secretly want. There's the person who overexplains everything, who can't say a simple no without a paragraph of justification. Because as a child, their feelings weren't taken seriously unless they were perfectly packaged. They learned that their needs were only valid if they came with an airtight case. There's the person who falls apart when someone is upset with them, not just sad. Physically activated, heart racing, mind spiraling, stomach dropping, because as a child, someone being angry at them didn't just feel bad. It felt like their entire sense of security was being pulled out from under them. There's the person who is the most reliable, most helpful, most selfless person in every room, and who cannot for the life of them tell you what they actually want, because they spent so many years attending to everyone else's emotional weather that they never learned to check their own. None of these people are broken. Every single one of them is someone who was once a child doing the very best they could. Now here's the twist, and I want you to really sit with this one. Most of the things you dislike about yourself are not personality traits. They are coping strategies that outlived their usefulness. Your anxiety is not weakness. It's a watchdog that never got to retire. Your people-pleasing is not spinelessness. It's a peacekeeping strategy that once kept the temperature down in a volatile home. Your emotional intensity is not too much. It's a deeply feeling person who never had their feelings treated as valid. Your difficulty trusting people is not paranoia. It's pattern recognition from someone who was shown repeatedly that safety could disappear. You are not the problem. You are the solution your childhood came up with. And here's what that means for right now. You are not stuck. Because these are not personality traits you were born with. They are learned responses. And learned responses with the right support and the right awareness can be unlearned. Not perfectly, not overnight, but genuinely deeply changed. The path forward doesn't start with fixing yourself. It starts with understanding yourself. It starts with recognizing that the child who never felt safe found incredibly creative ways to survive. That child deserves your compassion, not your contempt. And the adult you become, the one watching this right now, the one who sometimes still feels like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, that adult is allowed to start choosing differently. Not all at once, just one moment at a time. The moment you let someone help you without immediately calculating the debt. The moment you sit in a peaceful evening and let it actually be peaceful. The moment you feel anger or sadness or need, and instead of managing it or hiding it, you just let it be true. These moments are not small, they are the whole thing. They are how the nervous system slowly begins to learn a new answer to that old question. Is it safe here? And for the first time, maybe the answer starts to shift. Maybe let me stay long enough to find out. You were never the problem. You were a child in a world that asked too much of you too soon. You learned to carry things children shouldn't have to carry, and somehow you carried them all the way here. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to be in awe of. You are still here. You are still trying to understand, and that matters more than you know. The child who never felt safe deserves to finally come home, and that home is not a place, it's a state of being. It's the quiet, hard-won knowledge that you are allowed to exist without earning it, without bracing for it, without managing everyone around you just to feel okay. You are allowed to simply be, and slowly, gently, that can become true.